after maybe 10,000 other YouTubers made a video on why did I jump ship from Sony to Canon or vice versa. Mine is a little bit different. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven from X-Crew Photos. Today with another new camera in my hands, and this is barely 2 weeks after I published a video on me purchasing a brand new Nikon Z8. So what is a Nikon user doing with a Canon camera? Why did he buy one? The context over here is that I'm buying into a second camera system. Yeah, my main system is Nikon, but I'm buying into a second system where Sony would make a lot more sense, right? Because you can use E-mount lenses on Nikon Z, and yet I chose Canon. So I'm going to explain to you guys why, but I think the main point over here is to choose something, to buy camera gear based on your own user case scenarios. You make certain trade-offs and you focus on the features that will actually be useful to you given what you have been doing all these years. Which in my case, I am actually a product reviewer. I review toys, figurines, collectibles in my other channel. So I will be filming up close a lot, close up filming, and I will be filming at small apertures very frequently, f8, f11 to get enough depth of field. And that is in a dark studio like this where high ISO performance is extremely important. So with that in mind, I would prefer full frame over APS-C any day. This second camera system has to be more budget friendly, like I was aiming for $1,500 maximum, body only, but the cheaper the better. And also, this is compulsory for me. 4K 60p video uncropped. This is where we bring in Sony. Which Sony camera under $1,500 and full frame has 4K 60p video uncropped? The answer is none, zero. A7 IV is like $1,800, $1,900 now, but the 4K 60p video is cropped to APS-C, so no, doesn't do for me. The only option in Sony's camp at $1,500 is A6700, which is an excellent video camera, but it is APS-C, which I'm not in favor of. Meanwhile, the closest thing on full frame side with 4K 60p uncropped would be the ZV-E1, which is like a small toy camera that is great for video and vlogging, but not so much for photography. I'm planning to use the camera 70% for video, 30% for photography, and ZV-E1 just doesn't do for photography. So with the lack of choices for 4K 60p uncropped in the Sony camp, Sony has fallen out of my favor from the get-go. And you can always tell me that, well, you can pay more for a Sony body like an A7S III and you pay less for the lenses, it evens out, right? For the case of Canon, the bodies are cheap but the lenses are expensive. A large amount of the lens selections that are available in the Sony camp is not exactly usable for me. Let me explain why, right? For example, I told you guys that I film products, I film figurines, toys and so on for review reasons, right? Which means I need my lenses to be able to focus up close. And this is where Canon excels. 35mm f2, which I don't plan on getting. That thing is a half macro, 0.5 times, more than enough. 85mm f2 as well, that is also a half macro. Sony does not have anything like that. I would need to get the 90mm macro GM. And then if we take a look at Chinese lenses that cost anywhere between $200 to $500, regardless of the price points over there, almost none of them can focus up close. My biggest problem with Chinese lenses is that their minimum focusing distance is outright abysmal. It is horrible. No, they don't work for me. Let's say if I were to review a product, I were to review this camera, I want to show it up close to you guys like this. How many Chinese lenses has a minimum focusing distance that is short enough for me to do something like this? The answer is nearly zero. And then you can bring in Sigma Art or Tamron, right? Tamron does have lenses like that, Sigma as well, but I'm not sure if I want to spend $800 for each lens on a second system which is supposed to be budget friendly. Which brings us back to Canon R8, where I purchased a pre-owned one, and this is almost brand new. Right, this was a 3-week-old Canon R8 with 2 years and 11 months of warranty remaining. Only a couple thousand in shutter count. I paid $1,000 US for it. right? And with that extra budget available, I said $1,500. With that extra $500 available, what I did was that I purchased a 50mm EF lens over here, adapted to this maker adapter. I will review every single one of them separately. The EF 50mm STM lens is $100. This adapter is $40, right? But I'm using this more for photography rather than for video. And then Canon 15 to 30mm, yeah, RF, right? You know how much I paid for this? This isn't $500. This is $300. So yeah, this lens right here. How did I get this lens so cheap? Number one, yes, it is a great import, but at the same time, it is not really a great import because, to be exact, this is direct from Canon China, as you can see over here. Yes, and apparently this lens is selling for only close to 2,000 Chinese yuan in China, which is roughly $300 before shipping. And here it is, this warranty is valid only in mainland China, Hong Kong and Macau. One lens, one adapter, one camera body, and one ultra wide over here. This is like $1,600 only. The deal couldn't be any better. The main reason why I'm buying this lens is actually for product unboxing, where I hook up my camera from above and then I film downwards on my desk. When I'm unboxing a new product, I need an ultra wide lens, and you don't need f2.8. In fact, you want more depth of field when you're unboxing an object on the table. It is exactly this kind of value I'm looking for when I'm buying into a second camera system, and Canon turns out to be the best in this regard. Not to mention, this ultra-wide 15 to 30 lens can focus so close, like I could put an object right in front over here and the camera will still be able to focus on a product, which is amazing when I'm doing product unboxing once again. Another minor reason, but pretty important one as well, on why I chose Canon over Sony. It is not like I did not give Sony any chances at all. I actually visited exhibits, for example, and I tried literally every Sony camera on display, right? All the way up to A1 and A9 Mark III. But you know what? The only Sony camera that actually felt really nice in the hand to me was A9 Mark III, which is now being used in the A1 Mark II as well. Meanwhile, literally every single other Sony camera, it felt terrible in my hands. Like, what is up with the sharp corners and a very shallow grip, you know? A7C was horrible, and A7C2 was only barely or slightly better. The gap between the grip and the lens barrel is just not pinching my fingers. So I have no idea how Canon was able to make a camera that is this small, yet so comfortable to hold. And now that I've added a cage over here, this camera is pretty much ideal or perfect to hold despite the small size. And this cage over here gives me extra support on my pinky finger over here. But even without the cage, the R8 is very comfortable to hold, especially for someone like me with very big hands. I really hope that Sony would pass down this new grip design in the A9 III into future models, and I mean including the A7 V and even the compact models. At least, follow the grip and the curvature, and the cameras will be a lot more usable. After all, photography is just as important to me, and I will be using the Canon R8 a lot extensively in travel photography, vacations, and also street photography, where the Nikon Z8 is a tad bit too large to bring around. That is mostly a studio and landscape camera for me. So until then, I hope that it makes sense why one would choose Canon over Sony, even though Canon has a pretty bad reputation for restricting third-party lenses for the full frame section. But yeah, for someone like me, it does not matter that much. Maybe in future, the most expensive Canon RF lens that I would purchase would be the Neo 2870 2.8. Yeah, the Non-L. Yes, that is over $1,000. Yeah, around $1,000, which I am unwilling to pay for at the moment. But if in future the price comes down a bit, or I could find a pre-owned copy for $700, $800, then I might bite the dust and purchase one. So what do you think about choosing Canon over Sony? Will you still stick with Sony because of the large amount of lens selection? Or you have a reason why you chose Canon over Sony in the first place if you are a Canon user at the moment? Let me know that in the comments. And until then, the pros and cons I've discovered with using R8 over my next 1 or 2 months, I will publish a separate video on that. Yeah, a review perhaps. I need to use this camera body more before I discover more positives and negatives about it. And until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye.